Time now is 7:47. We're used to seeing Hugh Bonneville on our screens, whether he's playing Lord Grantham in Downton Abbey or Ian Fletcher in the hit comedy series W1A.
Well, recently he's taken a break from reading scripts to writing his first children's book. Hugh Bonneville is here. Really good to see you.
Lovely to see you.
A little bit of a switcheroo for you and, children's book.
Yes, well, I wrote a memoir a couple of years ago, and my editor was saying, I'm really enjoying it, but I'm on page 100 and you're still only 8. Can we move the narrative on? And I realised I'd written an awful lot about childhood. For some reason, the years between sort of 7 and 12 were very vivid to me. And so that became the source of this book, Rory Sparkes and the Elephant in the Room.
Is he based on you?
Well, I didn't have shocking red hair, but I was a large child and stood out a bit, and a bit like the Elephant Donna, and so that he's certainly got a lot of autobiographical detail.
Did you want to run away to the circus, little Hugh? Is that what happened? Did you want to do that?
Who didn't want to run off and do something more entertaining than their own life? And I did slip in a gag about circus children wanting to run off and become an accountant, and showed it to a former circus child who said we actually used to say that gag. So I think it cuts both ways.
And did you? I mean, you've ended up being an actor. That's a bit of a performer in a way. Is this same thing, really, isn't it? Circus act being, isn't it the same, really?
Well,
showing off?
Showing off. I spent a lot of time in the dressing up box as a kid, putting on little plays on the landing while all my mates wanted to play football. So, I was that kid who wanted to dress up and escape into an imaginary world, and now I've written one.
If you were to be in the circus, what would you be doing?
I'd be brilliant at the box office. That's about it, I think.
I was thinking of something on a trapeze wire, but not your territory.
Not me.
How hard is it to get you... Who's your kind of... When you start writing the book and you've got your ideas and it's all coming through, who are you most worried about reading it? As in terms of whether you've got it right?
Well, I think really I didn't think about that too much.
Good. I think that's very good policy.
I really wrote it for my 10-year-old self, because that's the world I was exploring. And I think, it's a good sort of rule of thumb to start writing from a point of something you know about, and in my case, my childhood, and then the imagination takes over. And you find before very long the characters telling the story for you.
And it's so important, isn't it? You're talking about your 10-year-old self, what would they want to read? The fact is that kids aren't reading anywhere near as much as they used to. The statistics are quite... The National Literacy Trust, which I know you're involved with, they spoke to, over 100,000 children. 1 in 3, aged 8 to 18, only 1 in 3 say they enjoy reading in their spare time, and the figures are lower than they have been for many, many years.
That's right. The figures are down, about 33% in 10 years, and that's significant. And obviously things like the pandemic and the rise of the screens and all that sort of thing. So next year there's a big initiative, both with the Department for Education and the book industry generally, to have the year of reading, not just for children but for grown-ups too. And actually, to be fair, there is very little coverage in the newspapers, etc., for children's literature, even though it brings in a huge amount to the economy, 400 and something million pounds. And so the more we can encourage young people to read and grown-ups to read, it fuels our imagination. It makes us tick as who we are, and makes us... It's a conversation piece as well as a burst of imagination.
Or indeed, grown-ups to read to children. I mean, you would have an advantage in that respect because it's kind of what you do for a living. But it is a joy, isn't it, to read a story for a child?
Absolutely. And I was talking to one of your team backstage, and she says, she's got twins of 7, and the children really look forward to that moment of engagement with the parents in the evening, and reading stories and chatting about the stories, and it fuels discussion and future creativity.
Yeah, it certainly does. We can't have you on and not talk about some of the other things that you do other now than being a children's author. Lots of us are particularly excited about the W1A spin-off that we obviously... It started with 2012, didn't it? Ian Fletcher and running the Olympics. And now you're going to be running the World Cup in 2026. Filming's been done, is that right?
Yeah, we finished about 6 weeks ago, and as many people will know, there is a major international football tournament, which we can't really name, and my character has been parachuted into a major organisation, which we can't really name, as head of integrity, to sort of organise the games that are taking place in Mexico, Canada and America. It's sort of writing itself already, isn't it?
Yeah,
100%. You must know, you probably know quite a lot of people who work within the BBC and BBC management. You dare say you know them. Are they constantly asking you, that me? Is it a meeting we've been in? Did I
do
say
remember
that?
when we did 2012. I remember Danny Boyle saying afterwards, when he finally watched the show after all the Olympics was over, and he'd obviously directed the opening ceremony. He said, "I'm convinced you had spies in our meetings," you know. And equally, people at the BBC have said when we did W1A, you know, I thought this was meant to be a comedy programme. It's a documentary. But whether it's true of 2026 will remain to be seen.
Back on the bike. Will you be back on the bike?
Oh, no, the bike's long gone. I'm now in Miami.
Oh.
And not many bikes in Miami, I don't
What's
think.
that, rollerblades, electric scooters?
Yeah, all sorts of things. Lots of Ubers and sunnier climbs. And that's where the real-life organisers of this big event are based.
And, of course, Downton as well is the other thing that people know you so well from. So and the film is out.
The film's out and is doing really, really well. And for those who followed Downton Abbey over those 15 years, I think it's a really lovely farewell and a fitting tribute to the end of an era.
Should we go through the ritual of us asking you whether it really is the end? It really is. It really is.
As we've been saying for 10 years, it really is.
It really
is.
It really is. And then the film comes out, but then it really is. Right?
No, this time
it's not
it
a
really
sequel
is.
to the film, or
I certainly certainly not with us in it, put it that way. The castle's still there, so you never know. Dun, dun, dun.
Can we talk about the ritual of October, November, December? We need to start talking about Christmas already as well, because that's the other thing on your agenda coming up, isn't it? A Christmas movie.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, Gurinder
You're
Chadha.
quite busy at the moment, Hugh, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I just did a tiny little cameo in this film by Gurinder Chadha called Christmas Karma, which is a modern take on Christmas Carol, and it's full of extraordinary characters, from Boy George to Eva Longoria to, of course, national treasure Danny Dyer.
Wow, it looks good. We're looking at it now.
Yeah.
Again, another book. It's sort of trying to get these crossovers, isn't it? It's to get people interested in literature and actually doing things like big screen versions involving celebrities, and in something like Christmas Carol, maybe people go back to the source material.
I hope so. And there are so many wonderful books out there, and children's authors. Benjamin Dean's written a beautiful book called The Boy Who Fell to Earth, which I highly recommend to our younger readers, all about a family of demon catchers. It's World Bookshop Day this coming weekend, so go and support your local bookshop. They're wonderful places to go and escape, and let's face it, sometimes we need to.
have you got, Hugh, a famous book that you read as a child? Your favourite book that you read as a child that has always sort of stayed with you?
Well, there was a book called Stig of the Dump, which stayed with me. And I was convinced it was taking place in my back garden. So every time I went out into the bushes at the bottom of the garden, I was hoping to find, some new friend. But he wasn't there. He wasn't there.
That is a wonderful book.
Yeah.
Good to see you here this morning. Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you. Thank you very much.
Indeed, and Hugh's book, Rory Sparkes and the Elephant in the Room, is out today.